Hey, what's going on everyone? Matthew from therighttrader.com back today with another daily crypto update. I'm going to be going over my normal schedule, which is as per usual: Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, Ripple, Neo, Vertcoin, Monero, Omisigo, Lisk, Cardano, and IOTA, all of those in a technical analysis on TradingView in that order in just a second. Other than that, if you're interested in monthly cryptocurrency buying opportunities or 5-high return cryptocurrencies for your 2018 portfolio, you can find both of those things in my premium content. Always have a link to that in the description of this video. And for my 5 high return cryptocurrencies, these include some hidden gems that I've never talked about before. So if you're interested in any of my premium content, go check that out. Link in the description of this video. And if you want to start trading altcoins, go check out Binance. Also have a link to them in the description. So let's get started with the general market update and talk a little bit about what's going on here, because there's definitely a lot happening. I do want to point out one thing. Since yesterday, started to put my trading in night mode after I got a lot of requests for that, and I just want to make sure that you all are happy with that change. So please let me know in the comments if you want me to keep dark mode or switch back to the more white background on the charts as well, and I will choose whichever one is the most popular opinion. But as far as the general market update is concerned, cryptocurrencies are dropping further. Now, there's very few exceptions today. Neo is one that actually managed to push towards $200. It is pulling back a little bit now, but it's still up overall on the past 24 hours. And just to go through quickly, scroll down here, you can see that we're pretty much entirely red, and not small percentages, right? Easily 10-20% here on a lot of these cryptocurrencies. So what does that mean exactly? Well, there's definitely some panic selling happening here. We are starting to lose some support levels, some pretty important support levels. It's important to realize that it's still a bit early to tell, really, if this is just going to be a quick, pullback and dip, and we're going to be back to normal in no time, or is this a sign that we may start to enter a bit more of a bearish market for cryptocurrencies, or at least maybe for altcoins, right? Where we might see altcoins start to fall off a little bit, and maybe Bitcoin, Litecoin, and Ethereum stay a little bit stronger. Like I said, it's a bit early to tell. I'm going to go through the charts, talk about what's happening as far as a lot of support levels are concerned, and we're going to get started with that with Ray blocks. So Ray blocks is, I thought I was ready to go back up yesterday, to be honest, because it started putting in higher highs, higher lows, especially higher lows, and that created that small uptrend right here that was created, and that didn't unfortunately last, right? What we saw happen was a drop below that, and haven't really recovered since, right? We've been downtrending once again. So I should go ahead and zoom out here just to give you a bit of a bigger picture idea of what's happening, and we can see that we've pretty much been downtrending nonstop here for quite some time, until we really break above this and even get through a couple resistance levels now. Really get back, I would say, above maybe 187,000 Satoshis. We really can't say that we're in the clear yet, because we have so much downward pressure from this downtrend right here, right? And the whole market is selling off. Things overall aren't looking the best as of right now. Of course, it could recover quickly, like I said, but we do have to get out of this downtrend at the very least, right? And really even ideally climb back up to some higher levels, so that we're really in a much better position, because as it stands right now, a lot of pressure towards the downside, and that's not just for Ray blocks, right? That's for most cryptocurrencies right now. With that being said, we are flattening out a little bit. We can see that we haven't really put in any other, big dips, and on that RSI, we're starting to test that 30 line, bounced off that, so that's a good sign, but still a bit early to tell if we're really going to get out of that downtrend just yet. Let's go over to Bitcoin here. Of course, the big three, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Litecoin, are pretty telling as far as what's to happen. And unfortunately, kind of some bad news here, but a lot of these cryptocurrencies actually broke to the downside of their symmetrical triangle formation. And if you've been watching my previous daily crypto updates, you would know that that's exactly what we didn't want to see happen. It's either going to go one of two ways here. Either this is just a quick dip below the uptrend line of the symmetrical triangle formation, and we're very quickly going to come back above it. Then we would have repaired, any damage and normally avoided any further collapse. It's also fully possible that we will see it hold below the uptrend line and start to tank further, right? For Bitcoin, for example, not much support until all the way near $10,000, right? $10,500. So it really could go that low at this point, since it got that first bearish signal of starting to crack below the uptrend line. And this is a pretty long-term uptrend line, right? It's not a small uptrend line. This has been going on since the beginning of November. And if I zoom out a bit, of course, we have our more long-term uptrend line, which is still fine, but that's at much lower price levels, right? All the way down to, around $7,000. I'm not saying we're going to go there just yet, but you do have to realize that we are currently, as we speak, starting to drop below this. Like I said, it's always possible that we see a bit of a bounce and that it's actually not going to look that bad. It was just a fluke, but since the market is flushing out quite a bit, I would say don't be surprised if you see it move lower here, right? That's fully possible. And indicators looking completely bearish, to be honest. I'm not even going to try to sugarcoat it. Downtrending heavily on the MACD, lost the uptrend line on the histogram, and moving lower on the RSI. So it is what it is. There's no two ways about it. The market is selling off right now. And the one thing that I will say about that is that we've been going up nonstop, right? So there was an extreme amount of pumping going on, cryptocurrencies going up with no end in sight, and that had to come to an end eventually. I think that's what we're seeing right now. The extent of this drop is still to be seen, right? And if it won't be as bad as maybe it looks right now while everyone is panicking, we just have to wait and see. So for Ethereum, lost this initial uptrend line. That was pretty likely going to happen, right? And now it's probably going to move back towards this secondary uptrend line right over here. As for any further drop, we still have this more long-term uptrend line that I might as well put in now. Will we drop below $1,000 for Ethereum, let's say? Is that possible? Yes. Is it likely? I would say it has a decent chance of holding above $1,000. If it were to dip, I think it would be a very quick dip all the way to this $881 support level and then pretty quickly bounce back up. But for now, we're still okay. We still have support over here on this secondary uptrend line and on the middle band. So definitely still has some support levels and a lot of support, of course, at $1,000. It's going to take some time to get there if we do start falling. So I'm not too worried about it. But of course, it is possible that we see a quick dip to $881, which would probably be a nice level to enter a position. But of course, that's just my opinion and not financial advice. Other than that, indicators finally starting to look bearish here for Ethereum. We can see that we're definitely topping off, rounding back down on the MACD, downtrending on the histogram, and broke below the 70 line on the RSI. Going over to Litecoin, which has been following Bitcoin's pattern and also was in a symmetrical triangle formation. So what we saw happen with Litecoin was a break below the uptrend line of the symmetrical pattern. Of course, that's very bearish, right? That's exactly what we didn't want to see happen. And usually that sets the trend for moving lower, right, with this formation. So the one thing you have to realize with Litecoin, though, I'm going to go ahead and zoom in a bit here, is that it had some pretty major support as well at around $218. So it bounced off that, but now the question is going to be, are we going to lose that, right? If we do lose that, probably going to pretty quickly move back down to at least $160. There is a lot of support there, so that's good. But for now, we're still holding it, and we're in this new little pattern right here, a new triangle that you can see, where we're probably just going to trade in between that until we either break towards the upside or the downside again, right? The upside would be breaking out of the downtrend line. Also, the Bollinger Bands are starting to tighten up a little bit, so definitely can see some consolidation because of that. And lost the uptrend line on the histogram, still moving lower on the MACD, no sign of flattening out. RSI kind of flat right now. Let's go over towards Ripple. Ripple actually took a pretty big dip here, and let's see if I can get it on Bittrex. It dipped all the way down to $1.50 basically, and we can see that the low was actually all the way down to $1.41. Currently sitting at around $1.60. Still moving lower from that downtrend, right? Since we lost that short-term uptrend line, I'll go ahead and put that in. So just so you get an idea, we're uptrending, of course, in a very steep manner, going up nonstop, went above $3 and lost that uptrend line. So once that happened, right, we've been seeing all this downward pressure and a lot of selling volume. We are coming towards the end of our Bollinger Band formation, or should I say, range, and that's a good thing, right? Usually the drop starts to slow down at around this lower Bollinger Band. It can still go lower, so do be aware of that, but it seems like we're probably not going to, I don't think we're going to go much further than what we already did, right, which is around $1.50. There's a lot of support there. Unless things get really bad, then of course anything is possible, but it seems to have some nice support here, and we'll be able to break out of the downtrend line and move higher right away. It's very hard to say. We'll have the previous uptrend line that is going to act as resistance. So I would say there's a high chance that we break out of the downtrend line in a pretty horizontal manner and then just consolidate a little bit. I think that's pretty likely. As for the indicators, still no sign of really turning around or flattening out just yet, unfortunately. Let's go over towards NEO, which is one of the exceptions today, and saw a big spike, so all the way up to $200.59. Pretty amazing that it actually managed to get a little bit above $200. That didn't hold, of course, with the market weakness and everything, and it was just a pretty big round number resistance level overall. So it didn't manage to hold that spike, at least not at those levels, and we're seeing it pull back here. Found a bit of support at $167, bouncing a little bit off that. To be honest, seeing how it's acting, right, I'm going to go ahead and put in the short-term uptrend line right over here. And if we're able to hold that, then we might even see it continue to climb higher. Since the market is acting so weak and it just got a big move higher, I would say it's just more likely that we see it pull back a little bit, right? Maybe back towards this $140 area. Get a bounce there maybe, consolidate a little bit in between this range. That seems a bit more likely considering the fact that we have been already uptrending quite a bit and now we're finally starting to see some market weakness, right? Overall though, I think NEO will be one of the stronger cryptocurrencies throughout all of this, and I do expect it to slowly but surely, continue its climb higher. So don't think that I'm bearish on it, because that's definitely not the case. I think that it is going to be, like I said, one of the stronger cryptocurrencies throughout all of this. Vertcoin, a lot of people want me to remove it since it's not as relevant as it was before. Let me know if you want to see Vertcoin removed from the daily crypto updates. I'll do whatever you all want. I have no bias. So for Vertcoin, we can see that we're moving lower. Of course, one of the smaller cryptocurrencies out there, so it's definitely not going to be one to be saved in this type of situation where everyone is panic selling. And definitely downtrending on RSI, MACD, and histogram, no doubt about it. Still very bearish there, no sign of flattening out. And we're now even coming and testing our basically $5 support level, right? Putting a low of $4.90 on this current candlestick. We could see it lose this $5 support level. And of course, we still have that downtrend line that's putting in more pressure towards the downside. I wouldn't be surprised, seeing how the market is weak, to see it push back down to this around $4.50 range, right? We had a lot of consolidation there. Could very well see it enter back in that area with this market weakness, to be honest. Let's go over towards Monero. Now, Monero, I'm not sure what it's looking like as of right now, but it looked earlier today like it wasn't experiencing as much of a drop as the others, and really it's not doing that bad. It's not able to get above $400.16. Pretty normal considering what the market is doing today, and just struggling with that, right? It's a pretty big support level, resistance level. Really the only resistance level after getting back towards the all-time highs. Flattening out on all indicators. What I see happening here for Monero is just a bit of consolidation, and it could last for quite some time, right? We saw that happen previously. It consolidated for a decent amount of time after moving back up, and I think we're re-entering one of those Monero consolidation phases. Monero is one of the stronger cryptocurrencies out there, kind of like Neo and Ethereum. So I don't think we're going to see it start to collapse or anything, but I do think probably going to see it enter a consolidation in between $350 and $416.15 for some time here. So that's what I see happening for Monero, which isn't bad at all, considering that a lot of cryptocurrencies are probably, especially smaller ones, are probably going to take a pretty big hit throughout all of this, which flushes things out and resets the playing field. So that is, a good thing on a longer time perspective. But Omisigo lost its uptrend line pretty badly, and this has been holding the price up for quite some time. Now it's still holding above the middle band, that's at $20.80, so that's a good thing. Also lost its $22 support level, still trading above $20. Omisigo isn't looking great here. At best, it could hold above $20. I'll go ahead and put in a support level there, just to make sure that that's put in properly. What it comes down to is we got the negative crossover on the MACD, negative crossover on the histogram, and moving lower on the RSI. Finally got some bearish signals there on the indicators after quite a nice uptrend. It's just more likely that we start to see it pull back a little bit, maybe towards maybe even $15. So I definitely think that Omisigo is going to take a bit of a hit here. And let's go over to Lisk, see how Lisk has been acting throughout all of this. So Lisk has actually been one of the cryptos that's been pretty strong. It has pulled back quite a bit now from the high though. And as of right now, not looking the best, not looking horrible either. It's finding support on its uptrend line. and it also has quite a bit of support at $25. So that definitely has quite a few things holding it up at this level. But with that being said, we lost the uptrend on the MACD, histogram, and RSI. That's definitely not a good thing. Lost a lot of support there, and those will probably continue to move lower. So at this point, there's a lot of resistance moving forward. I've got the previous uptrend line, the downtrend line, and I think there's a decent chance that we lose this $25 level, start moving back towards $20. Are we going to dip below $20? There's a higher chance that we won't dip below $20, but I do think that we're probably going to be heading there. And unless we're really able to get out of this whole mess, which is possible, but it's just going to be a bit hard, right? I would say the likely bullish scenario would be to move horizontally through the downtrend line and then to have a bit more room to move up higher after that. Let's go over towards Cardano and see how Cardano has been doing. So Cardano is still downtrending, actually not acting that bad, only down slightly on the current candlestick, finding support on the middle band. So that's a good thing. Indicators still downtrending though. It's still in not too deep in its formation here. It's symmetrical triangle formation and has a lot of support at 5,100 satoshis. So definitely possible that we see it move a little bit lower here unless we get a quick break above the downtrend line, which would be very good in this situation. But can definitely see it moving a little bit lower here and continuing in the symmetrical triangle formation. I don't think it's going to be maybe as weak as a lot of other cryptocurrencies unless we see it lose the uptrend line, right? Let's go over now towards IOTA, which is the final cryptocurrency of the daily crypto update. And I'm sorry to be a bit bearish here, but I mean, the market is definitely not looking its best. So IOTA is actually not looking great as well. Not only that, it actually lost a pretty important support level at $3.42. Starting to dip below that, we'll see if it holds this time because it has done that a couple times, over the past 2 weeks. Didn't really hold below it, so now that we're seeing some market weakness, maybe it's finally time that we see it actually hold below that $3.42 resistance level and start moving lower, right? Now we do have a couple new support levels put in throughout all these dips that we had. That's going to be mainly at around $3, basically, just to round things up a little bit. Then we have another bit of support over here near $2.70. This can be adjusted a little bit down to $2.63. But what I'm trying to say is we'll pretty quickly be moving lower as soon as we lose that $3 mark, right? We could pretty quickly move down all the way to $2 at that point. I would say be aware of that. That's just my opinion, not financial advice, but indicators not looking great as well, right? Of course, downtrending like a lot of these other cryptocurrencies. With that being said, everyone, this is the end of the daily crypto update. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.